What's going on, guys and girls? Josh Shelby here. Thank you all so much once again for tuning in. And ladies and gentlemen, on the line with us today is Fran from Spain. How are you doing today, brother Fran?
I'm doing perfectly great.
Good, good, good. Today's video is going to be covering a very entertaining, very exciting topic that I've been wanting to cover for the longest, and I kind of have, and I know most everyone in the world is probably a fan of this, and that is the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. Uh, Fran, before we continue, this needs not to be asked, but I'm going to ask it anyway. You have seen all three of the Nolan Batman films, correct?
Yes, the one that I've seen the most is The Dark Knight, then The Dark Knight Rises, and the last one is Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Begins, I
Mm-hmm.
saw it when I was like. It came out in 2005, so I was 6. And I saw
Yeah.
it like in an old cinema that was where I lived when I was younger. Then The Dark
Mm-hmm.
Knight, I saw it with my aunt and my mother, and I remember being like 9, and some scenes my mother would like close my eyes because they were like too graphic or something like that. And then The Dark Knight Rises, I was waiting for that movie like 1 year, and I went to see
Mm-hmm.
it, and I was like, best trilogy ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, man. I remember seeing The Dark Knight Rises in theaters. That was quite an experience. It's something about movies like The Dark Knight Rises, like everybody in the audience, whether it's a packed audience or whether it's a small audience, everybody is generally invested in the movie. And I felt that way myself seeing The Dark Knight Rises. Um Starting off, friend, I gotta ask you the first question, and that is, which of the three films is your favorite from the trilogy?
The Dark Knight, like no question. I
All
mean,
right. Go ahead.
I mean, like Batman Begins, I saw it the other day, like 2 weeks ago, and it's a really good Batman movie. But it's like
Hmm.
like a little bit more like comic booky, like more
Hmm.
fantasy. Gotham looks like a comic book and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And The Dark Knight Rises, like the message and the score and the overall message of Rising, it's
Hmm.
really epic. But The Dark Knight is The Dark Knight. Like The Dark Knight has some levels of epicness, and the portrayal of the Joker of Heath Ledger, and the overall acting and the score and the photography. I would say it's like top 5 best movies of all time. Not only superhero.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. And I think for me, obviously, I mean, The Dark Knight is a movie I could easily I can quote pretty much the whole film from start to finish. But for me, I think that's my favorite one. But I think um as far as how do I say it? As far as origin films go, I think Batman Begins set the template that a lot of comic book origin films and a lot of directors making origin films. I know, like Star Trek, the '09 film, and even X-Men First Class, Matthew Vaughn said they were influenced by Batman Begins, and then going in the Days of Future Past with X-Men, he said he looked at the Dark Knight. But moving on, Fran, how would you rank the movies?
Like in a top 3,
Yeah.
first one The Dark Knight,
Mm-hmm.
second one The Dark Knight Rises, and third one The Batman Begins.
Okay.
I know a lot of people love Batman Begins because
Mm-hmm.
the last Batman film was like Batman and Robin or something like that, and they were like, "Wow, this movie is amazing." But I mean, the first one, I don't think the first one reaches that level of epicness that the other two movies reach.
Mm. Okay.
What's your top 3?
Um, Mine would be The Dark Knight. I'm gonna be that guy and go The Batman Begins, and then I'm gonna say The Dark Knight Rises. Um, did not the not to not a diss to The Dark Knight Rises. I think all three are fantastic in their own right. I think the Dark Knight Rises has a bit more that I didn't really like in it, such as the whole thing with Talia and the whole thing about him, probably being dead, but probably not, or probably not being dead. And then the thing with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character being named Robin, I'm like, well, if y'all are gonna end the series here, why tease it like that? But whatever. Moving on, Fran, what did you think about Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne?
Only as Bruce Wayne. I think he's like, I mean, Ben Affleck is the perfect Batman, but I think that Bale is the perfect Bruce Wayne. Like
Okay.
the overall acting, it really makes you feel like he's not a vigilante. Like it makes you
Mm-hmm.
feel like he's just another rich guy who
Mm-hmm.
sometimes has that like that way of acting, like really like selfish and I don't care about anything and all that. I think he's the perfect Bruce Wayne because the way he portrays the character when he's trying to disguise himself as a normal guy is better than Ben Affleck. Because Ben Affleck, you know, in public you could see like he was all the time like really serious and really like concentrated and always looking for something. But Bruce Wayne was, it felt like a normal person, a rich person, and
Mm-hmm.
he never made you think that he was Batman.
Mm. Yeah, I've always held the popular opinion that popular opinion, the popular belief that Ben uh Ben Affleck is like you said. I agree with you that he's the best. To me, he's the best as both best as Bruce Wayne and the best as Batman. However, I will say that I feel that in Batman Begins, Christian Bale was at his best as Bruce Wayne. Moving along to the next question, friend. What did you think about Christian Bale as Batman?
Wow. Until I saw like BBS, I was like, no one will top this Batman because I like for me the best Batsuit is the one that he gets in the Dark Knight. Like
Mm-hmm.
the new one for me is the perfect Batsuit. Like it's for me
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing that suit. But I think that as Batman, like the journey he goes through,
Mm-hmm.
that was really good. Like the way he like his he made his voice like go deeper and a lot of people like laugh at that, but I think that's a really intelligent way of doing it because having a like a something or change your voice all the time, what if it
Mm-hmm.
breaks or something, you are just
Mm-hmm.
using your own voice. And I don't know, the fighting was good, like the fighting skills that he had were really good, but overall like the arc that he goes through as Batman
Mm-hmm.
is amazing. Like the rise, the downfall, and then the rise. Like when he comes back to Gotham in the Dark Knight Rises and he lights up the bridge and he comes
Mm-hmm.
back from the ice like, I'm here bitches. Like I was almost dead but here I am to fight whenever and whoever I want to.
Yeah. All right. Moving along, friend. Let me ask you this. Oh, I like this one. Do you like the fact that Raish? Okay, I said that wrong. In this trilogy, it's actually Ross Al Ghul, not Raish. Do you like the fact that Ross Al Ghul had a significant impact on Bruce throughout the trilogy? And the reason I asked that is because I feel Liam Neeson was fantastic as Ra's al Ghul, and he wasn't everybody's initial choice for to play Ra's Raish or Ross, however you want to say it, Al Ghul. But I feel like he was probably one of my favorite parts of the trilogy itself. And friend, how do you feel? Do you like the fact that he had a significant impact on Bruce throughout the trilogy?
Yeah, I like it because like in the first movie he almost makes him be who he is. Like he's the one
Mm-hmm.
who teaches him everything except the killing and all that stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
the techniques, the will, like when he says strength is nothing, will is everything, and all that stuff. That always affects Batman. I think that his
Mhm.
importance is really relevant. Not maybe not as much as his parents' death. That's like the principal cause, but the way of thinking, the way of acting, and the technical skills were all part of Ra's al Ghul.
Mhm.
They disagreed in the killing part, but almost everything that had to be with Batman, not with Bruce Wayne, was all
Mhm.
all him.
Yeah. I guess I like the fact that and this is primarily in Batman Begins. I like the fact that he taught Bruce pretty much everything. Fighting, the certain mentality he has to have to conquer, his fear and everything. And for me, Batman Begins was personal in a way because at the time when I saw it, I was scared of the dark. And one of the things that Ra's al Ghul says is like, I'll teach you how to confront your fear. And for me, that's what I did. I literally, like, Bruce was afraid of bats, so he immersed himself in with the bats, and he overcame his fear. And for me, I overcame my fear of the dark. I just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna sleep in the dark," and I wasn't scared of the dark anymore. And I just really, overall like Ra's al Ghul in this trilogy. Moving along, friend. What did you think about Talia in The Dark Knight Rises, aka Miranda Tate, aka Marion Cotillard? Besides, she's hot.
I I don't know. I mean, when I saw the movie, like everyone that I went to see it with were like, "Oh my god, that was clear that she was like the child of the pit, and she's the daughter of Ra's al Ghul." But when I saw it, I was like, "What?" I was like in my mind like plot twist. Like I couldn't
Yeah,
even like think about it. And I think that the overall I, there's something that I don't understand. Like his father talks English perfectly, but she's like Russian. I don't know
yeah,
about that, but that's like a side thing. But I think that overall she had a great performance, and the meaning of her doing that, and Gotham, and his father's legacy and all that stuff. The
hmm,
only bad part of acting was that the death, like when she dies in the truck, that was like
yeah.
so fake. It was like,
I was literally,
hey,
I was
and
literally about
she
that,
dies.
bro. I was literally about to ask you about that. Her death, holy God, like that was the worst on-screen death I've ever seen,
I mean, you can
probably.
like close your eyes slowly and stop breathing, not like, and she dies. It's like what?
Yeah, man. I guess I liked. I didn't really feel one way or another because there was so many. That's another thing about the Dark Knight Rises. There was so many added characters. You already had Selena Kyle, and you already had Robin the Boy Wonder with Joyce Joseph Gordon-Levitt. But I felt. I mean, I liked her. I guess I was okay with her character all the way, like you said, until the point where she died, and it was just wow. Moving on, friend. And this is an interesting question. Do you feel that the dislike slash hate for The Dark Knight Rises is warranted? That the movie deserves the dislike and the hate?
No, I think that when you make a masterpiece such as The Dark Knight, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like almost impossible to even equalize it, so it's natural that people are gonna go to the cinema with such high expectations and go like, "Pff, it wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
that much." But I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a special affect to the Dark Knight Rises when like the whole arc that Bruce Wayne goes through that in that movie, like when
Mm-hmm.
he climbs the pit, when he comes back, when he falls and then he rises up. For me, that's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. I think that it's natural for people to hate something when the last thing that you've done is that big and that good. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say that people should really appreciate like that's a really good Batman movie. Like if you think about it, thinking about the past that you had without thinking about Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, it's a really good movie.
Say that again, friend. Say it a little louder.
It's a really good movie.
If
and if you don't think like me, I'm gonna slap you in the face. That's how we do things in here.
Oh man, I guess for me, yeah, it's not a bad movie, but like you so that great point you mentioned about not basically not focused, not expecting another The Dark Knight or another Batman Begins, just watching it as its own movie. I feel, and I guess you can look at it as its own movie once you take away what you saw in The Dark Knight and take away what you saw in Batman Begins. It's not gonna exactly be the same. Fran, moving on. How would you rank the villains? The villains being Joker, Ra's al Ghul, Bane, Two Face, and Scarecrow.
Well, obviously the first one is gonna be the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
I think that second one it should be Ra's al Ghul
Mm-hmm.
because the how like how much he impacts the whole trilogy in the way he impacts Bruce Wayne's personality, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna. Oh, the third one is really. Oof, I don't know what to say if Bane or Two Face because I think like Two Face is really underrated. Like
Yes.
everyone is like, oh, the Joker, the Joker, the Joker, but if you see the performance of, I don't remember his name, the actor in
Yeah,
the
Aaron Eckhart.
that guy, and wow, like when you see the movie, like he's really good. The whole arc that he goes through when you start seeing like hints of he turning bad and all that stuff, it's like,
Yeah.
oof, that was good. And the CGI in the face, it's 2018, and I saw it today, and fuck, like that feels like it was done today. Like you can see something that you look at it and you're like, oh, this is fake. It feels like really good, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna put third one Two Face, and the fourth one
Mm-hmm.
is gonna be Bane
Mm-hmm.
because Bane was really good too. But and the last one is gonna be Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's looking at the list. That's pretty well. I've got my list another way, but pretty much that's how I do it. Joker, Ross Al Ghul, excuse me, Two Face, Bane, and then Scarecrow. I feel it had Scarecrow played more of a significant role outside of Batman Begins. I feel like he might be slightly higher because Cillian Murphy, however you say his name, was also really good as Scarecrow. Fran, moving on, do you feel? Oh, this question is going to ruffle some feathers. Do you feel that The Dark Knight is Christopher Nolan's greatest achievement?
Mm, no, no.
Explain. Explain.
Elaborate before I kick your ass. I think his best movie is Interstellar.
Mm.
Like The Dark Knight is like my favorite movie of all time, but
Mm-hmm.
Interstellar is like another level of cinema. Every time I see that movie with the score, the acting, the whole concept of extinction and the planets and the space, that's
Mm-hmm.
like something else. Like
Yeah.
superhero movies. There's a lot of superhero movies and all that stuff. And I'm not saying that The Dark Knight is an average movie. I think it's the best superhero movie ever. But
Mm-hmm.
Interstellar is really good. Like every time I see
Yeah.
it, you feel something. Like it's emotional. The score is amazing. The visuals are amazing. Everything
Mm-hmm.
is like wow. Like
Yeah. Go ahead.
like with the Dark Knight, like the acting is amazing, the photography is amazing, but with Interstellar, everything is amazing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's the whole concept, everything is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And see, for me, The Dark Knight is probably, and this is another question, but uh, The Dark Knight for me is probably the best comic book film. But to me, that's another thing I should ask you while I'm thinking of it, friend.
Hmm.
Do you feel like it's fair to classify The Dark Knight as a comic book or slash superhero film, or is it more of a action film?
I mean, it's a superhero film because you have like Batman, the Joker, and Two-Face, and the whole Gotham, and it's a
Uh-huh.
superhero movie, but it is like really grounded, really realistic. Like you don't see anything that you are like, oh, there's a flying man there, or oh,
Mhm.
there's, I don't know, he's jumping 15 meters in the air. Like everything he does in the movie, you
Uh-huh.
in your mind it's real. Like
Mhm.
maybe when he like glides with his wings, maybe that's a little bit like not realistic, but with the suits that they have now, they can do that. So like the whole
Mhm.
movie feels like it was real life, but that doesn't change the fact that it's a superhero movie. The fact that it's
Mhm.
realistic doesn't change the fact that it's a superhero movie. Like
Mhm.
a horror film can be realistic with little spooks and spirits and things falling, and that doesn't change the fact that it's a horror movie, you know?
That's correct. Yeah, and going back to what you said about Interstellar, I feel the exact same way. For me, it'd be Memento and Inception. As silly as the movie about a dream within a dream sounds, I really, really like Inception. And for me, the three movies that are my favorite of Nolan are The Dark Knight, Memento, and Inception. And moving on, friend, you brought up a great point, and this kind of ties into what you just said, and this is also going to ruffle some feathers, but I'm glad. And that is, do you think that if the Dark Knight trilogy was released now, that it will be as well received?
I've seen a lot of tweets like this in Twitter, and some of them are really funny. Like Heath Ledger plays a clown. The clown doesn't make jokes or isn't funny. 1 out of 10 missed opportunity. Rotten Tomatoes 20%. Yeah, I think so because when in the time that the Batman films came out, like the whole
Mm,
superhero science fiction genre was like really dark and grimy. Like you got
mm,
like The Matrix and films that were like dark. They weren't like really for kids. And
mm,
now we are in the era of funny superheroes. So
mm,
releasing a dark movie in an era of funny superheroes doesn't work. For example, in
mm,
during the Dark Knight trilogy phase, you had like Iron Man, and Iron Man was serious. Like it had his its humor, but at that time the tone was dark, so the whole theme of the film is pretty dark for what Marvel has done later. So I think that
uh-huh.
every movie was trying to look up at the Dark Knight and Batman Begins, but right now that it's all funny, you make something dark, and what happens is you have like BBS at 26%, Suicide Squad
Mm,
at 20%,
mm,
and Man of Steel at 55% because
mm,
critics and bloggers don't like it.
mm. So for the viewers listening, friend, uh, you don't think that it will be as well received?
No,
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. Even if it was Christopher Nolan, I just don't. I just unless it had the Marvel template, I doubt it would even hit 70. It may would hit 60, but I doubt it would even hit 70. Moving on, friend. Um, this next question is: do you feel that Christopher Nolan should have incorporated more villains into the movies? Because and the reason I asked this question, Fred, is sometimes I see a lot of statements saying that, well, I do like the movies, but I just wish that Nolan had done more with incorporating more as incorporating more villains into the movie. Like if he included Joker, he should have included Harley Quinn. If he included Bane, he should have had possibly Killer Croc or somebody like that, or Penguin.
I think that in a world like the one that Nolan built, that was like really
Mm-hmm.
realistic, you couldn't have that amount of villains. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't see Heath Ledger's Joker working with Harley Quinn. I think that he
Mm-hmm.
would like kill her in 20 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
because the way like he's introduced, like he's never been into a psychiatric hospital or something like that. So you should explain most of part of the movie he talking to her and all that stuff. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
it was intelligent not to put more villains because they would have been like eating each other's time. Like it will be a mix of so many villains that it wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want to achieve like a more realistic grounded film, you can put like six villains and make it look like a comic book. It
Mm.
has to be like this guy is the bad guy now, not this group of guys that one is a killer croc and the other one is I don't know. Each of the villains are really grounded, and I think that having more of them, it, it will would have made the film worse, in my opinion.
Okay, I see what you mean. Fran, let me ask you this, brother. What did you think about Batman's fighting style in throughout the trilogy? You know, with the whole, I think it's called the Kaisi method, aka elbow fighting. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, looking at Ben Affleck, uh, go god of MMA on the BVS, compared to Bale's elbows and holding guys in headlocks and picking them up while he's hitting another guy. I mean, what did you think about his fighting style in the Nolan trilogy, man?
I think that the fighting style that he uses is perfect for the kind of movie that they made. Like Ben
Mm,
Affleck's type of fighting was perfect for BBS, like a more like comic booky, not so realistic movie. Where Batman could punch a guy and he would fly 4 meters in the floor.
uh-huh.
But if you are trying to make like a more grounded film, that's like one
Mm,
of the best fighting styles because hitting someone with your elbow is like having blades in your elbow. Like you hit someone in the face with that and you're gonna cut their face. So I think that
uh-huh.
for the kind of movie that they were planning and they did, it's the perfect fighting style. It may not look as powerful as the ones in BBS, but I'm telling you, if someone like Batman that knows a lot of fighting styles comes and hits you like in your eyebrow with his elbow, you're gonna have a cut of 10 centimeters in your face. Like that is really. It's not like with your fists, like you hit someone and you may knock him. With your elbows,
Mhm.
you are cutting. Like you hit someone in the face and you are making like a cut in your face.
Oh yeah, if you hit somebody with your elbow hard enough, I've seen it personally. It will make a cut. Um, Fran, let me ask you this. Even though she was only in one film, what did you think about Anne Hathaway as Miss Selena Kyle, who was never formally introduced as Catwoman, but we all know that's who she was? What did you think about her in The Dark Knight Rises?
I think that it was the perfect love interest for Batman. Like one of the lines at the end when he says I can't leave and she says like you've given them everything, leave, and he's like no. Like he's like
Mm-hmm.
that girl who is tempting Batman from his purpose, but
Mm-hmm.
it in the end like they go together in real life, that stuff. But the interaction with Batman, I think that makes the movie a lot more dynamic. Like now he has someone who is like interesting to him. That's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, who's this woman? He goes to see her as Bruce Wayne, as Batman. He cares about him as she cares about him. I think that
Mm-hmm.
was a great point to have her in the Dark Knight Rises because it's like the
Mm-hmm.
counterpart. She's like bad, good, and she wants to leave, but Batman makes her better than she was, and she makes him better than he is. I think that
Mm-hmm.
it makes the movie more dynamic.
Mm. Let me ask you this, Fran. Which of your which supporting character that played in all three films? It can be Alfred, Gordon, Lucius. Which of those supporting characters among those were your favorite? Who would you say was your favorite?
It's a tough choice between Alfred and Gordon. Like
Mm.
Gordon was really good, like really really good. Uh,
That's Gary. That's Gary Oldman, bro. He's God in everything.
yeah,
So
and he
for
doesn't have.
me,
Well, he got an Oscar this year, right?
yeah, he did.
Because so everyone was like, "Give this guy an Oscar, please!" Like
Yeah,
he's done everything.
yeah, he's amazing.
I mean, Alfred is like the perfect supporting character in all the three films. Like not only cinema talking about, but in the movie, like the way he advises Batman and all that stuff, it's really good. But I think in the third movie, Gordon is amazing. Like when he
Mm.
says, when Bane is giving the speech and he says to the future Robin, like, I wish that one day you had a friend as good as I had that covers
Oh yeah,
himself with shit so the rest of us can live freely. And the way he delivers that line is like, wow, it makes you
yeah,
remember the last movie and everything that
it's
happened.
intense.
And
Yeah, it was intense.
the that's the part of the movie that always gives me chills in the Dark Knight, like the last monologue. Like he's a
Mm-hmm.
watchful protector, a Dark Knight. That monologue
Mm.
is amazing.
Mm.
But Alfred is really good, so I can't decide. Technical draw between the two of them.
Yeah, for me, man, that base even off of that line alone, I have to go with Gordon. I feel like Bruce had the another luxury in having not only Alfred, but he, in a sense, also had Lucius, and in a lot of ways he had Gordon, but Gordon was more of a friend, whereas Lucius and Alfred were more like the father figures that replaced his father that died. Fran, I want to talk about Heath Ledger. I know you've probably been wanting to talk about Heath Ledger for a very long time. Um, Fran, talk to me. Let me know. What was your first what was the first emotion that you felt when you first saw Joker on screen and finished the movie was over and Joker had his final bout at the top of that building and everything. What did you think? Did you really did you believe he was going to win an Oscar? Because I see a lot of people saying that, well, if he hadn't have died, he wouldn't have got if he hadn't have died, he wouldn't have gotten the Oscar.
Well, when I first saw the movie, I was like 9, so I don't really remember like almost anything about the time I saw it. But the next times that I saw it, I feel like the Joker character is not only the performance by Heath Ledger, but the way
Mm-hmm.
he's written and his character arc. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like what he says that, do I look like a guy with a plan? Like, everything he does, you don't expect it. You
Yeah.
just see him do things in a crazy way, but you don't know what he's gonna do next. You can't say, oh, now he's gonna blow up this train or something like that. It's like
Yeah.
when he's in screen, you don't know what's gonna happen. It's like,
Mm.
is he gonna kill someone? Is he gonna laugh? I don't know what's gonna happen. And I think that
Yeah.
without him dying, he would have got the Oscar too. Like the way he portrayed the character, like when I'm seeing the movie, I always try to think of the face of Heath Ledger, and I can't feel it in the Joker. Like he's
Mm.
so well into the Joker, like he changes his voice, the way of acting, the tongue movements,
Mm-hmm.
the way of walking, the way of dressing. everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is the Joker. Like when I see the movie, I don't think that he's an actor playing the Joker. I can't even see his face under that makeup.
Yeah.
You just see
Yeah.
that force of nature that you don't know what he's gonna do. Probably nothing good, but you're like
Yeah.
looking at the movie like, okay, what's gonna happen next? What's he gonna do? I think that was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Man, we've been on this for like 35 minutes, man. Friend, let me ask you this because I see this tossed around a lot as well, and I don't like to cause what hurt, but sometimes I do. As a matter of fact, I just got a comment in my comment section earlier today, and I just I let them have it. But more to the point, friend, I see this tossed around a lot, and I'm gonna ask you how do you feel about it. There are some people that suggest that Christian Bale's Batman should have been the Batman that was in Justice League. Do you agree or disagree? Yes, I'm being serious.
Kevin Smith said that like recently, and everyone was like, "What? No!" Like I think that Bale's Batman wouldn't fit in the universe that Snyder created. Like
Thank
the
you.
universe that Snyder created was like more like comic booky.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone had superpowers, and there were like
Mm-hmm.
extraterrestrial enemies. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Batman, the Bale's Batman works because he's a man in a suit. Not, with he's a legend and all that stuff. But in his
Mm-hmm.
universe works because most of the villains are human villains. But you can't put Bale fighting the Man of Steel. Like it's just, I mean, not because he's like as big as Ben Affleck was, but
Uh.
I don't see Bale's Batman finding kryptonite and having that desire of killing someone. Like when the Dark
Right.
Knight Rises ends, he's like, I'm done. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just gonna live my life.
Mm.
The BBS Batman works because he's still the Batman and he doesn't forgive his past and he's like really depressed and all that stuff, and that's why he wants to kill Superman. But why would the Batman from the ending of The Dark Knight Rises want to kill anyone?
Exactly.
That's like, listen, let the past die and relax. Like what happened has happened, and let
Mm-hmm.
it be. Just
Exactly.
like
Uh,
I understand that debate in 2013, but not in 2018, where Ben Affleck has been in like 3 movies.
yeah.
That's old.
Oh, man, this last question, it's funny we've been talking about the Dark Knight Rises, friend. How did you how did you feel about Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Robin in the Dark Knight Rises? Because the more I thought about it, and it's funny, I hate to compare the two, Marvel and DC, but the more I thought about it, I hate to bring this up, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm sure you see people complain about the MJ thing in Spider-Man: Homecoming, and the more I think about it, as I sit here in my boxes, no homo, the more I thought about it, I'm like, well, if y'all are complaining about that, well, look at what Joseph Gordon-Levitt did in The Dark Knight Rises. You should use that name more often, Robin. And you're like, oh wow, there's potential there, but I guess there's not. What do you think, friend?
I think that that's like a good cliffhanger to make you understand that there's not. I mean, there's no more Batman, but there's gonna be a new kind of vigilante helping Gotham. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that through the film, I didn't even expect that he's gonna be Robin, because when did Robin was a cop? But
Mm-hmm.
that I don't really care about that. But I think that as a character in the film, I really enjoyed him. Like the scenes that he was in, I felt that they felt natural and really well put in the film. I didn't think like, oh, this guy is like better not in the film. I really, when I was seeing it, I really enjoyed his movies. I mean, his movies,
His scenes.
his scenes. Sorry, and the comparison, I don't know. I mean, the there's something that I don't really understand. Like MJ is supposed to be like with red hair, and
Mhm.
the one from the MCU is like brown hair, and she's like African American. And in the
Uh-huh.
comics, she is like white and has like red hair. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something that, I mean, doesn't really put me out of my sleep. But I don't know if you think this, but a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, Scarlett Johansson is gonna play a transgender," or this guy played an actor like Robert Downey Jr. played a black guy. Like, oh my God, they could have had like a black guy playing that role, and then you see things
Yeah.
like that, and you're like, where are you? Like, was the same people who says this now?
Right. I
Like, I
mean,
mean, I don't care. I mean, when I'm seeing the film, I mean, I'm like, oh, she's not white. She's not Matt MJ. I'm not that
yeah.
stupid, but I just get bored that when it's in one way, they complain about it, and when it's the other way, no one blinks an eye. It's the only thing that I
Yeah.
don't.
Well, friend, I'm glad you brought that up, man. For me, I've always said that I really don't I really don't care about racial changes in the movie. I'm all for diversity. I do think we're getting to a point where they're not necessarily forced. Well, I guess I can't say that. They're kind of forcing it in certain cases, and a lot of people will say, if they're going to include this person of color, why not just make them, a different character, make them their own character? And I can see that point of view, but at the same time, if it's a fictional character, I mean, we can look at Exodus, Gods and Kings, where that movie was supposed to be about Moses, yet really none of the people in the movie were Hebrew. But at the same time, we know the actors in the movie. But Fran, there's one more question I wanted to ask, and I actually just remembered. What did you think about the sewer fight with Bane and Batman? Do you think it was epic, or do you think it was sloppy, or do you think it was both?
I think that it was epic because of the choice of not having music. Like,
Mm,
you felt every punch, like with the screams and the when he punched Bane, you heard like bam, bam, and then Bane when he punched, like he like cut the air, like you could hear like woof. I mean, I think that that was epic because it showed the physical superiority of Bane over Batman. Like Batman
mm,
threw like 15 punches and Bane threw like two, and Batman was in the floor knocked out. I think that
yeah,
that was epic not only because of the fighting that was really good and the voo voo and the pa pa, but because of the no music. Like
mm,
when I was like with no music, you felt the punches, you felt like the pain, the screams and everything.
mm,
You just felt like the downfall of the bat. You just saw him like a vulnerable child. Like Bane threw
yeah,
him like three punches, and he punched the mask and he breaks it, and that's like, wow, he's breaking it
yeah,
like with his fists.
yeah. I, I, I,
And
I
with
definitely.
the water makes everything like really epic because their suits like glow and
Mm.
like shiny. Uh, That's really good too.
Yeah, especially the way Selena's just standing in the background, like, what the hell have I done? To that, that to me was really cool. Fran, I thank you for stopping by, and that'll be all for this video, ladies and gentlemen. You all please go subscribe to Fran's channel, which I'll leave a link to in the comment section and in the description. And Fran, again, thank you for your time, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.